I have here now former Fat Families presenter Steve Miller. Hello, Steve. What do you think of the sugar tax?
You're looking very glamorous tonight, I have to say. Looking rather gorgeous. Am I allowed to say that in this day and age with all these
well, you're allowed to say it to me, Steve. I love hearing it, especially as I'm getting older. But what do you think of the sugar tax?
Well, listen, the first thing to say, I'm actually a believer that, we've got to look after our kids. Of course we have. And if it means giving them a meal a day, I haven't got a problem with that. But I do have a problem with how it's being suggested we do it, which is through a sugar tax. Because frankly, the government, in my opinion, have wasted billions over the last few years on different, tack and trace or whatever it's called. They've wasted a lot of money and they could have funded it that way. A sugar tax penalises the poor. This is what people need to realise. It's one of those taxes, if we start putting tax on all sugary foods. Well, first of all, what's sugary? Which ones are we going to tax? And secondly, of course, it's going to penalise the poorest people because the people from poorer communities still deserve a treat, but they're going to have to pay more for it. So no, I'm not a fan of sugar tax at all. What I am a fan of, big time, it kind of bolts into this, is parental role modelling and parental responsibility. Because frankly, and I know some people might not agree with me on this, that a lot of parents do great work to be role models for their kids. There are, frankly, some lazy parents in this country who are not good role models. And I'm sorry, I've got to take issue with all this blaming the food manufacturers stuff. All we seem to do in the UK is blame the food manufacturers. We blame the government. We blame the teachers. We blame the schools. It starts at home. And if people are going to manage their weight, they have got to take personal responsibility. And
I completely agree with you.
From all this claptrap of airy-fairiness.
I completely agree with you, but the problem is that the guidance that a lot of people who just, right, you've decided I'm going to take responsibility for my life. I'm going to go and see what the NHS and what the government are advising. And what they're advising is not good. So I think it needs to start, don't you, with the government actually getting their stories right and not being backed by these people that make these processed foods.
I don't agree with you at all. No, I don't agree with you at all. And I'm afraid what you're doing is you're making it very complicated for people, again, saying, oh, all the advice you've got from the NHS, it's all been wrong. And we've never had so much government health education. And I've got to stand up for them a bit here. A lot of it has been very, very good. The last thing we need right now is to start saying to parents, oh, ignore all that advice you've had because it's all a load of rubbish. I don't agree with you. And actually, Tonia, I've got to say this. The vast majority of people, you go on the street, the vast majority of people, they know what they should eat to be slimmer. It's not rocket science. What we've done in this country is we've made it complex. We've made it complex. So as well as normalising obesity, we've made all of this stuff about what to eat to be slim really complicated, when actually it's really simple. It's in here. That's where it starts.
I agree with you there. I agree with you on that point. I do think, though, there's a lot of misinformation. And I think maybe somewhere along the line, the manufacturers have to take some responsibility. Because if you get a packet of something and it says healthy all over it, but actually it's low fat and full of sugar, then I think that's misrepresentation. And I think it's very disingenuous that they're allowed to put these stickers on food saying that they're healthy when they're actually not.
So what do we do? What we don't do is start making it more complicated. What we do is we put little, very, very down to earth, maybe it's my background, my working class roots, I don't know. But you put very down to earth labelling on and you don't make it complicated because at the moment labelling is so complex. We need to just put, we just put, this will make you really fat. This will make you kind of fat if you're trying to lose weight. Rather than all of this complicated academic stuff that's decided in an ivory tower in North London.
Listen, I completely agree with you, but unfortunately these people that are selling these kind of processed foods are just toxic for our children, full of bad fats and sugar. They want to sell this, and so they are nudging people to buy them, and that's where the problem happens. That's where the problem is.
You're talking down to parents there. Most parents know that if they are serving a certain cereal, there is a lot of sugar in it. We've got to stop all this, oh, poor parents, let's patronise you because you don't know there's a lot of sugar in this, when in fact they do, because there's lots of responsible parents out there who, aren't academics, aren't nutritionists, but no, because they use their common sense. So I say no to complexity. I say stop blaming the food manufacturers. Yes, let's look after our children and pay for free school meals through general taxation and stop wasting tax on things like rainbows on police cars or other silly projects that don't work, like the tat and trace thing didn't work. Yes, I support that, and let's look after our kids, but let's not make it more complicated. Let's not start saying to people, oh, everything you've been told's rubbish and it's all the food manufacturers. Let's start giving people hope and aspiration.
OK, we'll end on that hope and aspirational note. Thank you very much.